Navy Week wrapped up on Sunday, May the 5th. There were numerous activities across the region over the 7 days, including a service at the Crystal Beach Waterfront Park commemorating the Battle of the Atlantic.
What was your motivation behind today?
Today with our Navy League Corps that's in Fort Erie, we're NLCC Black Creek. This year we're changing our name to NLC Fort Erie. There was also a ship, HMCS Fort Erie. So we are honoring not only this town, but we're honoring the ship. We've attended this ceremony, but in Grimsby, for many, many years. So now that with our core name being changed to honor HMCS Fort Erie, we decided we wanted to honor that and do this Battle of Atlantic ceremony.
The ceremony was the first of its kind for Fort Erie, and it included a flyover by a pair of T-23s and a Harvard trainer.
How did you coordinate the flyover?
Friends of friends. Alf lives right here in Fort Erie. He owns Beam Construction, and with just friends of friends, it was suggested that we contact Alf. He was more than happy to get the planes up in the Air Force.
This isn't my first Battle of the Atlantic ceremony, and I think that that if you've got a Navy League or a Navy Cadet Corps anywhere nearby, it's a worthwhile thing to be engaged in.
The Battle of the Atlantic was the longest military engagement of World War II, and it refers to the ongoing mission to keep the supply line of troops and supplies open. By war's end, almost 5,000 Canadians from the Royal Canadian Navy, Royal Canadian Air Force, and the Canadian Merchant Navy paid the ultimate sacrifice.
What were maybe a couple of things that really struck you about the Battle of the Atlantic?
Well, having, of course, not been around, when I hear people say that, well, Canada wasn't really involved, learning that we really were, like to find out that they came in as far as the Gulf of St. Lawrence, and our east coast was probably at risk as much as most of Europe. Being ex-Air Force and the outgoing president of the Legion, there's nothing that gives me greater pleasure than to be asked to help honor those that gave their lives so that we could have the freedom we have today.
When you actually think about the numbers and Canada's role, today we often take our military. We often think that we're a very small player on the world stage, but at that time, which was a crucial time in history, Canada became a military power, and our Navy was actually one of the largest navies in the world at the time. So I think that that's one thing, but just the immense the cost of life in the Battle of the Atlantic. Just as Barb said today, you know, like one in seven merchant sailors either died or was injured, and I just don't think that we really have the capacity to grasp that.
Those involved hope that the ceremony will also serve as a learning experience for the young cadets from Fort Erie who participated.
With the cadet program, we really teach the kids about our country and what we've done on Remembrance Day, and about how we've contributed to the war effort, how our soldiers were fought. And this is just another Remembrance Day that we wanted to do for them, to let them see how important it really is.
In Niagara, you're watching The Source.